So Lucy is a hominin, so it is an animal, an ape, that is more closely related to humans than it is to chimpanzees. Lucy is specifically a member of a species called Australopithecus afarensis, lived around 3.9 to 2.9-ish million years ago. And the really cool thing about Lucy is that she's bipedal. So there was a long question long-standing question in anthropology of like, which came first, which evolved first, bipedality or big brains? And Lucy really set in stone the fact that we see bipedality walking around on two legs first. Creationists look at Lucy and they say, well, we only have one of them and it's just a knuckle-walking chimp. And that is like as far from the truth as you could possibly get. Because one, we don't just have one Lucy. In Australopithecus, the genus, we have the remains of like over 400 individuals. Some of these are fragmentary, pieces of skulls, pieces of long bones, and some of them are nearly full skeletons, like what we see in the little foot fossil of Australopithecus africanus or the Dakika child. These are very well represented animals. Australopithecus sediba, it was even preserved with some of the bones still in articulation, still touching in the rock when the organism was preserved. And so by looking at that, we can tell that these things, first of all, there were a great many of them, so we have a great idea, a great representation of what their anatomy looked like because it matches across all of these remains. It's not a mix of human bones and ape bones, quote unquote, although that would be like saying it's a mix of dog and canine bones. And we know that Australopithecus afarensis was bipedal because she has all the hallmarks of bipedality that we humans have today that biomechanically make it impossible for us to have been knuckle-walking quadrupeds without getting arthritis in every bone in our body. So for instance, Lucy, like us, had a bowl-shaped pelvis with sagittally oriented iliac blades to anchor powerful gluteal muscles on the side. She had special structures on the ischium that allow for muscle attachment sites is really what we're looking at there. They have a valgus knee, which helps hold the weight in one column underneath the body. They have an anterior foramen magnum. That hole at the base of the skull is shunted way to the front so that the skull can sit directly on top of the vertebral column in sort of a single column to survey the landscape around you. And of course, their feet looked like ours. They had an inline big toe. Their feet didn't look like hands, like what we see in chimpanzees. And they had 3 arches in their feet. And we know this not just because we have the feet, but because we also have the footprints that they left in the form of trackways, like the Laetoli footprints. And, creationists look at the Laetoli footprints and they say, well, those are just human prints. Well, paleoanthropologists, being ever clever as they are, decided to test that hypothesis because they were trying to figure out how early Homo appears. And so they took casts of the Laetoli footprints, they took casts of a trackway that they had modern human hunter-gatherers create in sort of a mock ashway, and then they did the same thing with chimpanzees that they had walk in that ashway. The Laetoli footprints are intermediate. So these belong to a bipedal hominin that is walking in its own unique way, not quite like humans, not quite like a bipedal chimpanzee, but certainly something that was walking on 2 feet like us, and certainly there were more than one of them. So that's your long-winded answer.